Hello my scholars and welcome to the Myschool channel. My name is Angela and in this video we are going to be reviewing the government's JAMB past question for the year 2023. Please don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Myschool channel. In this video, we're going to be reviewing questions 1 to 20. Let's begin with question 1. Which of the following is a fundamental principle of democratic governance? A. Centralized decision-making. B. Censorship of the media. C. Citizen participation. D. Authoritarianism. So our answer to this question is C. Citizen participation, because we understand that democracy is a system of government whereby citizens are allowed to participate actively in the decision-making process. Centralized decision-making cannot be the answer because, unlike in a democracy, a government where there is centralized decision-making allows decision-making to be made by those in authority and not by the citizens. Also, there is no censorship of the media in a democratic system of government because the press is actually free to say whatever they want in a democratic government. Lastly, the authoritarian system of government is not associated with democracy at all because central authority is placed in the hand of a single person. But in a democratic system, the authority is placed in the hands of the citizens who elect leaders who can tell them what to do and how to act. So our answer to this question is C, citizen participation. Question 2. Which of the following is not a source of public opinion? A. Opinion polls. B. Academic journals. C. Social media. D. Political parties. So our answer to this question is B. Academic journals, because journals are publications that are produced by experts in a particular field and it has nothing to do with collating public opinions. Opinion polls, social media, and political parties, however, help in collating public opinions or what people think about particular issues that are going on in the society. So answer to this question is B, academic journals. Question 3. In the parliamentary system of government, the head of government is typically dash. A. Elected directly by the people. B. The leader of the majority party in the legislature. C. Appointed by the judiciary. And D. Chosen by the head of state. So answer to this question is B, the leader of the majority party in the legislature. Unlike in the presidential system of government where the leader is elected directly by the people, in the parliamentary system of government, what happens at first is that delegates are chosen in each constituency in the country and then citizens are allowed to vote which delegate they would want to represent their constituency in the legislature. So whichever party that has the most delegates in the legislature gets to be the government in that particular period. So they select the leader of that majority party to lead them in the legislature. So that leader becomes the prime minister, or in this case, the head of government in that particular period. So answer to this question is B, the leader of the majority party in the legislature. Question 4. The policy of indigenization was introduced under the regime of A, General Yakubu Gowon, B, General Olusegun Obasanjo, C, General Ibrahim Babangida, and D, General Sani Abacha. So answer to this question is A, General Yakubu Gowon. In February 23rd, 1972, the policy of indigenization was approved by his regime. The reason he approved this policy is because he was not happy with the way most of the organizations and establishments in the country were owned by foreign individuals. So he wanted to give Nigerians the power to own and control organizations, and so he designed this policy to make sure that indigenes can own and control their own businesses in the country. So answer to this question is A, General Yakubu Gowon. Question 5. Whom is the current chairperson of Ecowas? A. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. B. Alassane Ouattara. C. Macky Sall. D. Nana Akufo-Addo. So the answer to this question is A, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And this decision was made during the 63rd ordinary session of the Authority of Head of States in Ecowas. Ecowas is the economic community of West African states, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu was elected during this session, which was held in Guinea-Bissau, as the current chairperson of Ecowas. Question 6. The constitutional amendment process in Nigeria requires the approval of A, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), B, the National Assembly, C, the President, and D, the Supreme Court? So answer to this question is B, the National Assembly. The duty of amending the Constitution belongs to the legislature, and the National Assembly makes up the legislature in a particular country. And so 2/3 of the votes of the National Assembly is what is required in order for a constitutional amendment to take place. The Independent National Electoral Commission have no business with constitutional amendments. They are an independent body that conducts election in the country. The President has no business amending the Constitution. His duty is to implement and execute policies in the country. Lastly, the Supreme Court has no business as well in amending the Constitution. They primarily interpret the law. So our answer to this question is B, the National Assembly. Question 7. During the Cold War, Nigeria's foreign policy was characterized by A, alignment with the United States, B, neutrality and non-alignment, C, pursuit of colonial interests, D, alignment with the Soviet Union. So answer to this question is B, neutrality and non-alignment. During the Cold War was a period of tension between the United States and the Soviet Union, and so several countries of the world chose to align with either of this party. The countries that aligned with the United States were characterized as first world countries, and they include countries like South Korea, Japan, Canada, Israel, etc. And the countries that chose to align with the Soviet Union were characterized as second world countries, and they include countries like North Korea, China, and Cuba. However, there were some countries that chose not to involve themselves in this particular situation. Nigeria was one of them, and they were regarded as third world countries, and they chose to be neutral and not to align with any of these countries. And the reason why Nigeria chose not to align is because they wanted to focus on the stability of Africa. So our answer to this question is B, neutrality and non-alignment. Do you know you can take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past question? All you need to do is to click on the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website, where you can download the Myschool mobile app for your Android devices and the Myschool software for your laptops and computers. Please go ahead and start practicing. Now on to question 8. Which of the following documents granted Nigeria its independence? A, the Lancaster House Agreement, B, the Atlantic Charter, C, the Nigerian Independence Act, and D, the United Nations Declaration on Decolonization. So answer to this question is C, the Nigerian Independence Act. This was a bill that was passed in the United Kingdom on July 29, 1960. And it granted Nigeria her independence, which was to take place on the 1st of October 1960. So answer to this question is C, the Nigerian Independence Act. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 9. Which of the following is a right associated with citizenship? A, right to education, B, right to vote, C, right to privacy, and D, right to property. So the answer to this question is B, right to vote. Actually, foreign inhabitants of a particular country are allowed the right to education, the right to privacy, and the right to own property in a particular country. But the right to vote is a right that is restricted to citizens of a particular country. So our answer to this question is B, right to vote. Question 10. In a parliamentary system of government, the executive branch is A, under the control of the judiciary, B, combined with the legislative branch, C, elected through popular votes, D, separate from the legislative branch. So our answer to this question is B, combined with the legislative branch. After delegates are elected into the legislature in a parliamentary system of government, the Prime Minister, which is usually the leader of the majority party in a legislature, becomes the head of government, and he selects his cabinet members from the legislative house. So the Prime Minister, together with his cabinet, forms the executive branch of government in the parliamentary system. So our answer to this question is B, combined with the legislative branch. Question 11. What is the main source of funding for public corporations in Nigeria? A, government budget allocations, B, foreign aid, C, revenues generated from their operations, D, donations from private companies. So answer to this question is A, government budget allocation. A public corporation is a corporation or organization that is owned by the government and is meant to provide essential services to the citizens as well as generate revenue for the government. This is unlike a private corporation that is owned and controlled by private individuals, and so the public corporations are funded by government budget allocations because it is the government that owns and controls this corporation. So our answer to this question is A, government budget allocations. Question 12. Which of the following is a limitation of pressure groups? A, they only represent the interest of the wealthy. B, they have no influence on the government's policies. C, they may prioritize their own interest over the public interest. And D, they often resort to violent tactics. So our answer to this question is C, they may prioritize their own interest over the public interest. Pressure groups are groups that are formed to protect the interest of that particular group. This group may be professional, it can be social, it can be civil. And examples of pressure groups include the Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers, etc. So let us look at the option to see which one of them can be a limitation of pressure groups. A, they only represent the interests of the wealthy. This is not true because pressure groups actually represent their own interests. That means the interest of the people who belong to that particular pressure group. So that can be our answer. B, they have no influence on the government policies. They actually have influence on the government policy because normally if they engage in protests or strikes or demonstrations, the government have to listen to them. Otherwise, things will not flow as normal in that particular society. So B can be our answer. C, they may prioritize their own interest over the public interest. This can be our answer because, for example, if the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers decide to go on strike, this will affect the interest of the public because they may not have transportation to go to wherever they want to go. So this could be our answer because they may prioritize their own interest. That's the interest of them getting what they want over the interest of the public. Lastly, they often resort to violent tactics. This is the case some of the time. Sometimes they resort to violent tactics, but most of the time they do not do this because they know that if they resort to violent tactics rather than engage in peaceful protests and demonstration, they will be deemed illegal by the government and the people. So they do not resort to violent tactics most of the time. So our answer to this question is C. They may prioritize their own interests over the public interest. Question 13. Which of the following is a function of the Public Complaints Commission? A, managing public transportation. B, enforcing criminal laws. C, conducting investigations and inquiries. And D, implementing foreign policies. So answer to this question is C, conducting investigation and inquiries. The duty of the Public Complaints Commission is to conduct investigation and inquiries about inefficient management, corruption, nepotism, or other issues that go on in the public system. So the Public Complaints Commission do not manage public transportation. That's the duty of another public corporation in the government, and they do not enforce criminal laws. That's the duty of the police and other task forces, and they do not implement foreign policies. That's the duty of the president and his ministers. So answer to this question is C, conducting investigation and inquiries. Question 14. What is the term for a system of government in which power is held by a small group of people? A, oligarchy. B, monarchy. C, theocracy. And D, democracy. So our answer to this question is A, oligarchy, because oligarchy is a system of government whereby power is held by a small group of people. Monarchy, on the other hand, is a system of government whereby power is held by a single individual, usually a king or a queen. Theocracy is a system of government where power is held in the hands of the church or religious bodies. And lastly, democracy is a system of government whereby power is held by the people, the citizens of that particular country. So our answer to this question is A, oligarchy. Question 15. Which African country successfully resisted European imperialism and maintained its independence? A, Ghana. B, Ethiopia. C, Kenya. D, Algeria. Our answer to this question is B, Ethiopia, because Ethiopia always tried to resist Italy's attempt at colonization. They did this both in 1896 and 1936 when the Italy tried to invade their country. Ghana and Kenya, however, were colonized by the British Empire, while Algeria was colonized by France. So our answer to this question is B, Ethiopia. Question 16. Which of the following is a feature of Nigerian federalism? A, single-party system. B, centralized fiscal system. C, autonomy of local governments. And D, strong central governments. So answer to this question is C, autonomy of local governments. We can see that Nigerian federalism is actually a system of government whereby power is shared among the federal, the state, and the local governments, which are the three tiers of governments in Nigeria. So the states and the local governments actually have autonomy or freedom to make certain decisions for their states or their local governments without interference from the federal tier. So our answer to this question is C, autonomy of local governments. Do you have any question? Please feel free to ask your question by clicking on the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website where you can ask your question and solution will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now moving on to question 17. If the president refuses to sign a bill within a specific period, it can still become a law through A, legislative override, B, none of the above, C, judicial review, D, public petition. So the answer to this question is A, legislative override. Normally in a system where power is shared among the various arms of government, the president has the power to sign or veto any bill that has been approved by the legislature. But if the president chooses not to sign this bill, the legislature can still override the president's power with an overwhelming majority in the legislative house. If the majority of the legislature actually wants this bill to be signed into law, it will. So our answer to this question is A, legislative override. Do you have a better explanation or solution to any of these questions? Please feel free to indicate by going down to the comment section below to indicate the question number and solution you would like to share. Question 18. Which document serves as the Constitution of the United Nations? A, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, B, Geneva Conventions, C, Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, and D, Charter of the United Nations. So the answer to this question is D, Charter of the United Nations. All of these documents are documents of the United Nations. They help to guide how countries of the world act, in relationship to one another. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a document of the United Nations that clearly states the fundamental human rights that are to be upheld by every nation of the world. The Geneva Convention is a treaty that has been signed by several nations in the world to prevent the torture of war criminals or prisoners during periods of tension. Then the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons is a treaty that was also signed by several nations of the world to avoid the misuse of nuclear energy. But the Charter of the United Nations is a document that contains the guideline on how the United Nations should act. So our answer to this question is D, Charter of the United Nations. Question 19. Pressure groups primarily aim to A, promote social equality and justice, B, gain political power and control, C, influence public opinion through media campaigns, and D, disrupt the functioning of the government. So the answer to this question is C, influence public opinion through media campaign. So they actually help to influence the opinion of the public through campaigns in social media, in the print media, and in the electronic media. They do this so that they will be able to actually get the people to agree with them and to represent their interests, especially when they go out to vote for their leaders. They do not promote social equality and justice. Some of them do actually, but most of the pressure groups we have are professionally oriented. And so their primary aim is not to promote social equality and justice. They do not try to gain political power and control. Or if they try to do it, it's not their primary aim. What they actually want to do is to influence the government decisions and to make sure that the government actually represents their interest in whatever they do. They also do not disrupt the functioning of the government. They only engage in peaceful protests and demonstrations to ensure that their interests are being taken into consideration by the government. So our answer to this question is C, influence public opinion through media campaigns. Question 20. In which system of government is the executive and legislature fused? A, cabinet, B, presidential, C, unitary, and D, federal. So answer to this question is A, cabinet, because unlike in the presidential system of government where the executive and the legislature are different arms of government, in the cabinet system of government, the legislature and the executive are fused. Delegates are at first elected into the legislature, and then the party with the most number of seats in the legislature gets to be the government for that particular period, right? And then the party that becomes the government actually elects their party leader as the prime minister or the head of government in that particular situation. And this head of government gets to choose his cabinet from the legislature. And the prime minister as well as the cabinet becomes the executive arm of the government. They're actually gotten from the legislature, and this is why the executive and legislative arm of the government are fused in the cabinet or parliamentary system of government. So our answer to this question is A, cabinet. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.